So, I think we all know that I'm American, right? And so I thought, why don't I look at people making other burgers in different countries and give my advice. Shout out to School of Woke. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm definitely gonna roast her.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Flavor Fridays. My name is Emma, and today I'll be making 肉夹馍, or a Chinese hamburger.
Why do you, I haven't watched all of her videos, or any of their videos, whoever makes these. My question is, do they have like a different theme for every week? I don't know.
So a 肉夹馍 literally translates to meat sandwich bread. So there are two elements to this dish. There's the bread and there's a really fatty stewed pork belly, and that's the first thing we're going to do.
Fat! It's not supposed to be fat. It's supposed to be flat. Add an L.
So in this pork belly, we're going to flavor it with some spring onions, ginger, and garlic.
Onions? Oh wait, I forgot onions are actually in burgers.
The very basic Chinese seasoning with some spring onions, ginger, and garlic.
Ginger and garlic? What are you guys on? You don't put ginger or garlic on a burger. Do it in whatever way you want in China, but I'm still gonna roast you.
Very basic Chinese seasoning to go into any braised meat.
Basic? Are you kidding me? What the hell are you doing?
So with your ginger, you don't need to even bother peeling it, to just going straight into the stew. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a few thin slices, just like so.
That's potato. Hold on, got an itchy nose. Alright, I'm back. But, am I wrong, or is that potato?
So, I'm placing my sliced ginger just on a separate plate over here.
That's ginger?
Peel off
No,
some
potato.
cloves of garlic and then give them a quick bash.
I am
It's an ad.
creating the miracle of miniaturization.
So, while this
This
is
is the top
happening,
secret project you've been working on?
basically,
Oh no.
do not mess with that.
Skins on
Use your
and everything.
sledgehammer.
And then
In America,
with
we
these
always
spring
have-
onions,
or your shotgun.
I'm going to take and everything. And then with these spring onions, I'm going to take the roots off, and then I'm just going to slice it into maybe 5-centimeter pieces. Again, this is just to flavor the stew broth. So all of that goes onto a plate. So in the end, you've got a plate of all of your aromatics. So I've got my...
To be honest, I'd rather eat all of that instead of whatever burger they're making.
sliced ginger, my bashed garlic cloves, and my spring onions. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to blanch our pork belly. Now this is...
Hold on, I need to look up what blanch means. I'm not a good speller. Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
is a traditional step in Chinese cooking. We do this when we're cooking with any type of meat, and it's to remove the impure...
No. No way they are going to take the meat, and instead of putting it on a grill, or even if you're very weak or something like that. I don't want to say something else because my dad might be mad. But are you kidding? it's like you're not supposed to boil it.
Impurities in the blood, in the fat. So I've just got a pot of boiling water over here. This is the pork belly that we got. So it's really nice fattiness from the skin and also some leaner bits from the meat that will make a really nice combination of flavors for the meat part of the 肉夹馍. So in boiling water, I'm popping these straight into the pot. It only needs to blanch for a couple minutes, just until you see some of the impurities from the meat float to the top of the pot. This is a step that my dad and my grandma always did before they made soups. They always blanched their meat first. So I have been blanching my pork just for 2 to 3 minutes, and you see how there's kind of this strange foam that goes on top? That's impurities draining from the pork belly. So I'll just take that
Oh, really? I thought it was soap.
out of the pot and set that aside. You don't need to wait for it to cool. We're not waiting for it to dry or anything. We're just setting aside so we can make the stew.
You wouldn't need to dry it if you didn't boil it.
The sauce for our pork. So now that we have prepped our aromatics, we've blanched the pork belly, I could talk about the few other things that are going into this dish. So in Chinese, this would be called 腊汁肉. It's actually a dish that dates back 2,000 years. Of course, back in the
2,000 years? Seriously? Like, if you're gonna make a burger, then... burgers are literally one of the most American things ever. I'm not even joking. Like, what the heck? Just... I don't know. I can just tell there's gonna be problems.
day, maybe they didn't put it in between a sandwich, maybe they just had it with noodles or rice. But the base of this dish is this bounty of different spices that we have here. So I've got some dried tangerine peel.
Okay, in normal burgers, you don't add spices. You add sauces. Like, if you want some, if you don't like, if you like don't like tomatoes, but you still need them, use ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise if you're even crazy. There's relish, like there's tons of sauces, not spices. You never use spices. You want something spicy? Barbecue sauce.
I've got some dried chilies. I've got black and green cardamom pods. I've got some Sichuan peppercorns, very common that you would find in this region. And this region is Shanxi, which is where all that spicy food comes from. I've got some star anise, I've got some bay leaves, a few cloves over here, and I've also got some cinnamon bark. Now this seems like a lot of spices. Traditionally, you have up to 20 spices in this stew. However, there are only a few
20 spices? Are you kidding me? What are you cooking with 20 different spices? I'm assuming they're all different, but whatever. Let's continue.
Spices that you need to get that really good flavor. You don't need all 20. And I would say that the most important ones are the ones over here that I have. The star anise, the cloves, the Sichuan peppercorns, cinnamon, and you can go with or without the tangerine peel, the bay leaves, and the cardamom. Apart from the spices, we've also got some light soya sauce, some dark soya sauce, and actually in Chinese we would say this is sangtao.
Okay, close enough at this point, I guess. But what you're supposed to do with burgers is you're supposed to like spew them on. Like, I can get my ketchup and put it on my burger. That's what I like. You got relish if you're weird. Ketchup for extra flavor. Barbecue sauce for a little bit of spice, and mayonnaise if you hate yourself.
And lou tao, which means that one is younger, so the light soy sauce is
You don't,
younger,
like, dip it in.
and the dark soy sauce is older because it's actually more aged. We've also got some rock sugar. Now, if you don't have rock sugar, you could just use white granulated sugar. That's a perfect.
Just use regular sugar. What's the difference? What's the difference between normal sugar and rock sugar?
Perfectly good substitute. And then we've also got my favorite Shaoxing cooking wine. If you don't have this, you could use a drop.
Wine! So, I actually know part of my family actually owns a winery.
My sherry instead.
So that's neat.
So the first thing we're going to do is to make a caramel. Now I know that sounds a bit odd in a savory dish,
Caramel?
but the caramel balances off all the saltiness from the soy sauces that we're using, and it also really complements the fattiness of the meat. So when we make the caramel,
You don't use caramel in a burger. Who puts caramel on their burger? Who on earth puts caramel on a burger? Who even likes caramel? Actually, I think I don't know. I don't know who does. Maybe there's some weird guy out there.
we're just going to make a caramel with some oil in a pot on a medium to high heat.
Did you say oil? Get 'em, boys!
Not too high because you don't want to burn the caramel. So I'm just lightly covering the bottom of the pot. And then I'm going to add my
Like
rock
every
sugar
American's favorite thing.
and just wait for it to slowly dissolve. What we want is the sugar to completely melt and to reach a really golden amber color. That's when we can add all of the other ingredients.
You don't use a spoon to like scoop it in. You can just
So
drop it.
now that I can see that all of my sugar has dissolved and it's become this really beautiful golden amber color,
That is not beautiful, bro. That looks ugly. That looks like my throw up. I'd probably I don't know, suffocate myself, then do this. Or eat that. That looks actually disgusting.
I can add some of the other ingredients. So I'll add the water straight into the pot. You just need enough to cover all of that pork belly. Be careful when you do this.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam
He sense
Ferrari,
the
and I'm the
oil.
CEO of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next webinar where you can drill deeper.
As that water boils, the sugar will completely dissolve as well.
You're not
so
supposed to
while I'm
boil a
waiting for
burger.
that to boil, I can add everything else. So I can add my spring onions, my garlic, and my ginger, all of my aromatics going in. I can add my pork belly. So with the pork belly, you don't have to use this cut of meat. You could use a mixture of a leaner
You're supposed to use
piece of
cow.
pork. You could even use
Cow.
beef if you want to.
They
That
go
would be
moo
delicious.
moo, you know?
So, I'm adding my pork belly. I will add all of my spices. Now, if you have a spice bag or a small muslin cloth, sometimes in China they will put all of this in a spice bag so that you don't have to fish everything out. It's a completely optional step. I'm just going to add it straight into the pot. I'll add my light soy sauce. I'll add my dark soy sauce, my Lou Cao, and then I'll add my Shaoxing cooking wine. So, as you can see, my pork belly is slightly sticking out of my pot, so I'm going to top it up with a bit more liquid, just until the water covers the...
Every drop of water that woman puts in that bowl, I feel the pain of thousands of men.
The pork belly. Now, in order for the pork belly to really cook down and get really tender, and for all of those spices to infuse into the meat, you want to cook this for around 3 hours just on a low heat. If you have more time, you can cook it for even longer. You don't even have to put this into a sandwich, which is what I'm going to do. You could add vegetables, and this would be a delicious Chinese vegetable pork stew. So now that everything has come up to a boil,
Wait.
I'm going to turn it right...
This was supposed to be a stew? Hold on. Yeah, it says burger. Hamburger. What is she talking about?
Right down to a simmer. I'm going to cover it with a lid and let it cook away for 3 hours. So now that the meat part
3 hours? Are we kidding? My dad could make a burger in like 30 minutes.
of the 肉夹馍的腊汁肉 has been cooking for 3 hours, we can make the sandwich, the bread part of the 肉夹馍. So, in a large mixing bowl, I've just got some plain flour. I've got some baking powder.
She's making bread, isn't she? That's fine, like to make the burger buns, but you can just buy them at a store. You don't need to make them.
I've got some fast action yeast or instant yeast. I've got a pinch of salt. I've got some oil. The oil is going to enrich the dough so that
More oil! Get 'em, boys!
it's a little bit lighter, a little bit fluffier. And then I've got some water as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll mix together the dry ingredients. So the baking powder, the salt, and the yeast can go right into the dough. And I'll just give it a really nice mix with my hands. Now, this dough is kind of a mix between a pita bread and a tortilla. So it doesn't puff up and rise. It's not supposed to be fluffy. It's quite flat and it's quite chewy in texture. So it really stands up next to the fattiness of the pork belly. Now I'm going to add my vegetable oil. Now I add my vegetable oil into the flour first before I add the water, because I actually want to slightly mix the flour and the oil together. This will make it again a little bit fluffier and a little bit lighter. So now that my dry ingredients are well combined, I can add in the water. Now, as I'm adding this in, you'll see that the dough is quite dry, but do not add any more water. This is a bread, so there's not going to be, it's not a wet dough, it's quite dry.
How much it weighs, how long
I'm pouring
it is.
in my water straight into the middle, and I leave a small amount back just in case I need more, and this is enough flour for all that water that I just added. So, in my hands kind of formed like a bear claw, I'll slowly mix the flour and the water together, just like this. Now, traditionally, this bread was made in a coal oven, but nowadays, to make things a little bit easier, they cook them on stove tops, and then they have almost a lid that covers the top and bakes the bread dough. What we're doing instead is we'll pan fry the moe, and then we will stick it into the oven to continue baking. So, I've got quite a craggly dough here. Again, do not add any water. Continue mixing, and the more you need, the more the flour will absorb the water that you've added to the bowl. So once you've got a craggly dough, you can make some space on your tabletop so that you can kind of work it all together.
I also need 1 cup of milk.
So when you're kneading any dough, you want to push with the bottom of your palm, push away, and then bring the dough back. So pushing with the bottom of your palm, bringing the dough back. Pushing at the bottom of your palm, bringing it back. Now it looks like it's never going to come together, but just have a bit of patience. Just knead away. So you want to knead the dough until you get a really smooth ball of dough in the end. And if there's any bits of dry dough that aren't sticking together, leave that out. Don't force it into the dough. That means that the dough has absorbed just enough water to hold it together. So I've been kneading my dough for around 7 to 8 minutes, and I've got a relatively smooth ball of dough like this. It doesn't need to be entirely smooth because we're going to let the dough sit by the side and relax for around 20 minutes. Now, we don't need the dough to double in size. We're not trying to prove the dough. We just want it to slightly relax. So, in the same mixing bowl, I'm going to put my dough back in and then cover it with a warm tea towel. So our 肉夹馍 dough has been hanging out, relaxing for the last 20 minutes, half an hour. Depending on the temperature in your room, it might take a little bit longer. What you're looking for is a dough that is much more soft than when you first put it into the dough to relax, and you do not need the dough to double in size or anything like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to form the shape.
I'm just going to skip
one by one like
to the actual good part.
Hello, Mark Barden here from Sandy Hook Promise. On December 14th, 2012, my 7-year-old son...
One like
hey, whatever's going on with him, I feel bad, but...
meat has been stewing away, braised. At a time, you don't have to do one by one like I am. So the meat has been stewing away, braising for
Wait, have she put sesame seeds in the burger buns? I mean, you don't really need them, but they're still used.
Several hours now.
They add a little bit of flair.
So, in addition to the meat, I've got some coriander and some spring onions. That is completely...
You don't use those. I mean, you can put lettuce, but... What?
Optional. You'll see 肉夹馍 in the streets with just meat. Sometimes they add...
Hold on. Take us to the burger. You see that thing? It's white on the... It's white here. You're brown on the bottom. You see? You see the problem? It's supposed to be brown all over the place.
Streets with just meat. Sometimes they add coriander, spring onions, sometimes cucumber. This part is completely up to you. So, when you're building your sandwich, this is what you're going to want to do. You want to slice...
It's not building, it's making.
Open your mo. So, just with my knife parallel.
What is she doing? What on earth is she doing to that innocent bun?
Well, you don't want to slice it all the way to the other side. You want to leave a bit of a hinge so that your ingredients don't fall apart on the other side
My American
of the sandwich. So, something just like that. So it opens up like this, and you see beautiful swirls. That's what happens when you roll the bread first. Now with the spring onion, I want some of the white punchy part and the fragrant green bits. So just taking the ends off of both sides. I'll do a little bit of the white and the green. I'll chop up some coriander as well, as much as you would like. I'm just doing a small handful. And now, this is how you'll do it in the streets of Shanxi. They will take some of the meat from the massive pot of the 腊汁肉. You want a bit of the pork belly skin and a bit of the leaner meat. And you pop that right onto the chopping board with all of your fresh greens. So this is the meat after it's been stewing away for 3+ hours.
I can tell that thing does not want to be on a burger. This is not a quote-unquote Chinese hamburger. It's just, get rid of burger. Just make it ham at this point. It's not even a burger.
Worse. My mouth is watering just looking at this piece of pork belly.
The pork belly tastes good, but in burger standards, you're a monster.
Just do a small piece for now. Set that aside. And I'm just going to chop it up really fine with all of those other ingredients. Mix it all together. Now, if you want a little bit more fat, grab some more of the pork skin. If you want some leaner bits, grab some more of the leaner part. I've gone...
Wait a minute. She's mixing it with the meat. What is this person cooking?
Half. I'm happy with that. I'll get my mo, slide the meat straight into the sandwich.
Oh no, oh God. It's a mistake from God. This is an atrocity. Guys, what do we do? I need to I'm censoring that. No way, we are not looking at that anymore. She just ruined the burger. She did. That's not how you make a burger. I'm out. See y'all tomorrow. Hopefully not. Don't make me do one of these again.